Yo, welcome back to Rusty Rails. My name is Birch. This episode was stressful, so I hope you enjoy it. Let's get going. So we are gonna start off with this track here. So firstly, this is Code 75 Concrete Sleeper Pico. I don't know what it's called, but as you can see, the rail, the base and the top of the rail are at two different levels, whereas here on the bullhead track it's more like I-beam than rail, but more importantly the base and the top is at exactly the same level, as in width. And then I took a Sharpie and marked where the dropper wires need to sort of like line up with the hole in the rail, and then essentially I just soldered the dropper wires, one black, one red, to each of the tracks. Once I had done all three, I then went and proceeded to line everything up and take all the sleepers off. This is a bit tedious. I don't want to bend the rail on this one, but I 3D printed these little spacer things, and what they do is they hold the rail away from that centerpiece so that when I run a bead of super glue down it, the rail stays where I want it to stay. Yeah, that took a little bit of thinking, but it's so simple. So yeah, I don't ask why I'm wearing finger condoms here. I thought it was a good idea, but yeah, I still was putting my finger straight where the glue was. So yeah, those spacers came in so handy, and it is so tedious trying to run a bead of super glue down the line without spilling it. And when you spill it, you try and wipe it, and it like wipes all the paint. So yeah, that was a little bit tricky. And there we go. It's as simple as that. I can see why I didn't film more. As you can see, there's a little bit of white as well from the super glue where it's reacted. I did have to go back and wipe that with a wet wipe, and that pretty much solved all the issues. I did have to go back and wipe that with a... I tell you what, if you had £1 for every time I said so, you'd have a few £100. So that's one extra quid in the pot. Now we move on to the cards. I didn't really know how to film this, so this is what I did. There was also a so there as well. Can you tell I've got ADHD by the way I edit? So this is the studio, welcome, and this is where I edit, also welcome. So yeah, these are most of the parts that come together to build this. This is the final assembly. This is what I mean. I don't want to film myself modeling and making every single one of these elements. So yeah, that's not the final color, by the way. That's just so I can differentiate in parts. And yeah, it all came together, and this was the final piece. Yeah. All those pieces took, I'm going to say 24 hours to make, but not a day. It was like 2 or 3 days to make all that. And yeah. So, here is one of the prints. Here are the printers. Now, you'll notice that all three printers are going. The fourth is for doing reprints. Now, this is how I heat the resin. And it's a hairdryer on what is basically a microphone stand. And before anybody goes, oh no, you shouldn't do that, it's dangerous. Look, I don't leave the place whilst that is going like that. And also, I've been doing this for years, and I ain't ever had a fire. Although, just to be safe, my friend bought me a housewarming gift, or, well, to avoid warming, he bought me these. Oh, is that a date? It's in the red. Is that dangerous? I suppose it just comes out with a little extra force when I press it. I wonder if I press it now. The 3D printers were going for about 24 hours straight. It was nuts. It was insane. And yeah, you'll see why that was all in vain in a bit. Oh, that right. Very good. But yeah, I couldn't really film too much of the cleaning process because it's really messy. But I had to put the water in that clear tray and then the IPA in the clear tray just because the parts were so long. So yeah, warning, this part all is kind of in vain, but it's exactly the same process. So I started off by taking these supports off, sanding down the bottom, and yeah, there was a lot of pieces. And then I remembered I actually had a mini belt sander, so I decided to use that, which sped the whole process up a whole load. And yeah, so again, you know, just rip them supports off. I was using a bracing piece to take these mounts off, and that helped quite a bit. That was quite a long clip, wasn't it? Talking of them braces, I wasn't too happy. Here is the doors getting printed as well, by the way. But yeah, those bracings, I had to reprint them, and then all the parts for the end. I've forgotten to film the CADs of it all, but you know what it looks like. Once everything was organised and sorted into piles and pretty much ready to go, yeah, the assembly process started. This is my little schematic that I made, so I knew what was gluing to what. And I used a straight edge and a UV torch with UV resin. I've just done a video on how this is like one of the best glues for resin. What I was meant to say there was the best way to glue two pieces of resin together, because it's resin. And yeah, it's literally rinse and repeat. There's the little corner bits going in, there's the vertical bits going in. And yeah, so I did this all the way, like literally every single piece. And now I want you to take note of something. These are the A4s, or the little cross pieces. Notice how nice and skinny and not structurally strong they are. And notice there's no cross bracing yet. Yeah, that was a mistake, because once I'd glued it all together, the entire frame, I was going to do the cross bracing afterwards. And I'm sorry I don't have a better clip, but as I was moving the frame to test how big everything was, this happened.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Yeah, that still hurts, and you can see it had flaked, so I couldn't even like glue it back together, and it had to go in the bin. And that hit me. That I'm not even like trying to be funny right now, like that hit me. I think this was at 7 in the morning, and I'd been at it for about 3 hours by that point, and I went, right, I'm going home, I'm gonna sleep. And before I did, I went and put all the parts back on print, redid everything, and this is where we got to. So you can see I've taped up a little bits of the parts here because they were warped, and so I hit them with heat and then put them back in the cure chamber, and it sort of reset the parts. Also, I decided to paint on the resin this time rather than use an airdropper. And the UV torch, I actually had it strapped so it would just constantly be on at certain points, and it just never turned off. So every part was getting loads and loads of resin. I did the cross bracing as I went as well, rather than trying to do everything and then the cross bracing. And also I built this in two halves. So here is the front half, and then the back half I did after. This little bit of blue tape you can see I'm taking off here, that was to stop me from pushing the bits too close together, and that was basically a spacer for the middle bits. But as you can see, it all went together really, really nicely, and the strength on this is insane. When I glued these two parts together, I really took my time picking it up, and because this is a massive structure now, and you can see there it's pretty rigid, it's pretty solid. I don't want to shake and test it, but there we go. Finally we managed to get to an end point that I'm happy with, and it looks awesome. I'm so glad in a way it went wrong, because trying to do that cross bracing after I had done just the verticals by themselves, it was destined to break. So I was glad it broke then and not halfway through. We got there in the end. So yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed that. I'm trying to keep these videos shorter than longer, so it's not just a massive information dump. But in the next episode, we're actually going to add something that is a bit of a spine to the building. So yeah, I hope you like that. I just want to pause the video there real quick because I want to say a huge thank you to James Bull. He is a legend. He is kind of a structural engineer when it comes to steel frame buildings. He's the one who was like, look, you need this kind of stanchion, you need this bracing here and here. He was really helpful. He's the one who actually told me about, he was like, oh, you need to include this, which is what is going to act as a kind of spine in the next video. So yeah, James Bull, you are a legend. I love you. Thank you so much. Anyway, yeah, back to the video. We're going to do some detailing in the next one. I think I'm going to start off by just wiring up the layout really quickly. Like, it won't take too long. And then we'll get into some finer detailing. We'll see where we're at and how long that video runs. Guys, thank you so much for watching and putting up on this very emotional journey. I'll see you guys in the next one. And I'm actually going to go start that right now. I'm going to take a drink. I'm just going to go start it. See you in the next one.